Hey guys, it's Rufus, and I finally decided to start taking a look at Chalet, and we'll be starting with the basement site. There are two ways you can attack the site. First, I'm going to talk about pushing garage. If you were to take garage control, how would you do it? Pushing into the breach by itself would never work, since there are far too many cross angles from connector, main stairs, blue stairs, and wine cellar. So if we were to try and make an attack plan around taking garage control, we need to eliminate some of these cross angles so that we can enter the garage breach. To prevent the defenders from using these angles, we need to clear about half the map. For the top floor, this means clearing library and the whole mezzanine, along with that hallway. Next, the attackers need to take control of fireplace, bar games, and this whole hallway. Now that we've cleared any roamers, we need to lock down our flanks. Luckily, you can lock down your flanks very well since on Chalet, the first and second floor are split by a singular doorway. You can use this to your advantage as flank watch becomes very easy when all you have to worry about are two doorways. However, you might also be thinking, what if the defenders get aggressive and push up blue stairs or main stairs? Well, that won't be a problem because we can set an attacker to play on blue stairs and the main stairs. This accomplishes two things. The main stairs player is in a very strong position for the execute, and they can watch the swing from connector and wine cellar. The blue stairs player can also watch blue and prevent the defenders from swinging here at all. So let's recap a bit. The idea of this strat is to go for an execute onto garage. However, as mentioned earlier, we can't only push in garage because there are far too many cross angles to worry about. Simply by performing a roam clear, we've eliminated two cross angles and are now in a position where we could try and go for a plant. However, there's still more that we can do. I haven't mentioned vertical play yet, but this is very important for two reasons. Breaching above garage allows you to prevent any bandit or Kai tricking on the garage wall. Not only that, but the hatch and connector is really what makes the strategy come together. When you open the hatch and connector, the defenders can no longer utilize those cross angles, so the only way that the defenders can contest garage is from wine cellar. This strategy takes away 3 of the 4 cross angles that I mentioned earlier, and by doing this, it allows the attackers to really just push into sight and have very little resistance against a plant. Now, I've described almost everything about this strategy, such as what you need to do, but a lot of you are probably wondering when you do everything. Like, should you open the garage wall first, or roam clear first, or whatever? Well, you would start by roam clearing the first and second floor. After, you would establish your flanks and get somebody to watch main stairs and blue stairs. While this is happening, the attackers can breach above sight, open the garage wall, and really establish their positioning for the execute. So once you get to the execute, here would be my ideal positioning. I would have one person on the blue stairs, main stairs, and the connector hatch. This is all for eliminating the cross angles that we mentioned earlier. And the other 2 players would be outside of the garage breach. One of them would be going for a plant, and the other would be covering the planter. The next attack strategy is going to be focusing on wine cellar instead of garage. This strat is going to require a lot less room clearing, and so I would consider this strategy much better for frag heavy teams. Like I said, our main focus is wine cellar. What we want to do is open the 2 walls in wine cellar, because when you open these walls, it becomes almost impossible to play in wine cellar at all. There are very few spots that you can play in wine cellar without a shield, and a lot of these spots don't give you a lot of movement. And so once you open these 2 walls, it's very easy for the attackers to simply just push into sight and play for trades. And most of the time, this is going to be very easy for the attackers to win gunfights, because the defenders are going to be very predictable, they're not going to have a lot of maneuverability, and the attackers can use smokes to eliminate other lines of sight. So when you push into wine cellar, it can basically become a 5v2 or even a 5v1. So now we know where we want to execute, but how do we get to that point? Well, it's actually very easy. First, we want to take control of the main garage so that we can push into this hallway and start getting the walls open on site. However, you may be worried about flanks from the west stairs, and this is extremely easy for the attackers to lock down. I'll show you why. Gridlock and Nomad will work just fine here, but they aren't even necessary. You can watch the stairs pretty easily from these windows at west main, and this makes it very difficult to enter the room by itself. But you can also open the shelf to watch the stairs with a very tight angle. You can also just set someone on the top floor to watch the stairs from above. The power to this strategy is it's very difficult for the attackers to contest this angle. There are just so many different ways you can watch different doorways and stairs. So now we've got everything explained, let's recap the strategy. The attackers will take control of main garage so that they can push into trench. While this initial control is being established, somebody is going to need to be on top of flank watch. From here, the attackers need to open the 2 walls in wine cellar so that they can get ready to push in and go for trades. Unlike the last strategy, I won't be giving any distinct positioning for the execute because the positioning won't be consistent during the execute. It will heavily depend on where the defenders are positioned and what utility you have available and what utility they have available. So now that we have both of these strategies out of the way, which one is better? Well, the garage push will definitely take more time and require better coordination and planning, but this strategy would really be good for any team. It eliminates the cross angles and it makes it very easy to push into garage by itself. Now, the wine cellar push has the advantages of easier flank watch, less roam clearing, but the attackers can't utilize vertical play very well. The only hatch in wine cellar is practically useless because no defender would be playing under it anyway, and it's difficult to say which strategy would be better without absolutely no testing. But I like the wine cellar push simply for the fact that there are significantly less steps required to perform the strat. However, I must admit that the garage push would likely be more consistent as the positioning is more defined and the strategy is more defined. The wine cellar push is very good for frag heavy teams, and as a very aggressive player myself, this strategy would fit my playstyle well. So really, the best strategy depends on what you want to do and what your strengths are as a player and as a team. But that's all to say for this video, and if you learned something, give the video a like, and if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe. Toodles!